Ladies and gentlemen, President Donald Trump just hit the world very hard with 100% semiconductor tariffs. And this is a really bad news for Singapore. And let's watch on and see what he has done, the implication to us, and possibly our economic impact and what we should do. Let's watch on, shall we? David, this slide again. Announced that he potentially will hit the world with 100% chip tariff. And this is an economic shock to Singapore because semiconductors is one of our anchor export that we ship globally. So in this analysis, we will provide the potential impact of the new policy and to our manufacturing sector and the investment landscape. And I think we should all be prepared for a shock. Just a digression, yesterday the S&P 500 hit 6,345, a very good result, went up by 0.7%. And I can dare say that the stock market is on a strong bull run. And what Tom Lee, the fund strat analyst, is saying to hit by the end of month 6,500 and 6,600, I think it is within reach. Similarly, for NASDAQ, it went up by a phenomenal 1.3% as well. So both of them are going on a fierce rampage, going up and up. And as a commercial, I would like to also share everybody that our Young Again Telegram group is growing phenomenally. Right now, we have 2,000 over members actively enjoying all the health tips of how to become young, look young, feel young, and live young. And there's a lot of sharing and a lot of mutual interaction within the group. Please join our Young Again Telegram group and get all this secret to become young again. It is not a BS. It's already happening. So let's go back to the news itself. So the breaking news is that Trump has announced a semiconductor tariff plans. The proposal is to hit the world with 100% tariffs on all non-US manufactured semiconductor chips, whether it's from Singapore, from China, from Taiwan, or whatsoever. The tariff will cover both chips and products that contains chips. And the aim is to repatriate the entire global supply chain back to the American soil. And Donald Trump has actually deemed that this is important as a strategic importance for America. Now, this would have a lot of implication to Singapore and for trade-dependent economies like Singapore. So what's Singapore's impact? Now, Singapore has a semiconductor footprint of the following. It's one of the world's largest global exporter, despite us being a very small country. We are the fourth global exporter in the semiconductor space. And this accounts for about 6 to 8% of our GDP, depending how you account for it, and about 25% of manufacturing. And we supply about 10% of our global chips. Now, in all fairness, we don't just supply to US, we also supply to the rest of the world as well. It is not a total car crash, but US being the biggest consumer of the world, clearly will have a big impact to us. So what are the GDP and jobs at risk? It accounts for roughly 6% of our GDP, and it won't be a total hit of 6%, but that area of 6% will be an impact, okay? So there are tens of thousands of jobs in the semiconductor space, in particular, high-skilled, high jobs, fabrication plant, R&D, and so on. A lot of all these jobs could potentially be impacted, and there could be spillover impact. For example, the semiconductor company will need logistics to deliver the goods, will have precision engineering design, okay? Even, F&B that supports some of these industries. So it has a spillover impact as well. This is not a trivial thing. So what are the businesses that could be hit? Clearly, semiconductor manufacturers like all these Global Foundry, Micron, UMC, Siltronic has a lot of manufacturing footprint in Singapore. They will face a direct hit, not a total hit, but there'll be some hit. And there'll be end products implication as well. A lot of our Singapore-made chips goes into US products as well. And this could potentially have some hit as well. There's a lot of REITs that supply all these spaces for semiconductor companies. And these tenants could now face some impact as a result. Then there'll be a flow-on impact to the REITs as well. So all this intertwining, okay, will certainly cause some impact to Singapore. What's the impact to to a Singapore stock market? Hard to say, but I think certain SGX listed manufacturing companies, industrial REITs will have some significant sell-off in time to come. And there'll be regional semiconductor supply from Malaysia and Taiwan that'll be vulnerable as well to be hit. So on this note, we also should take note that Malaysia is also a big semiconductor manufacturer of the world as well. So both countries cannot escape this impact, and therefore, we have to find a way around all these problems. Now, in all fairness, this is not all good news for US as well, right? There will be a lot of implications as well to US and the rest of the world. If the tariff get implemented 100%, then clearly, it will increase costs of the components to US dramatically. Then the final goods to US will go up as well. There could be then price inflation of all these goods from consumer electronics, medical devices, industrial devices, EV, and so on. There could be some product supply chain disruption as well, as suddenly they realize that 100% they can't tahan, right? So there could be just even some trade flows disruption, and there could be even chip shortages and things like that. So all these things have implications. Hard to say at this juncture what the implication might be. So what is the things that we should do as Singapore and potentially even Malaysia? Well, there could be short-term measure going to mid-term and long-term. So the short-term measure that we're thinking of is within 0 to 12 months. I think there could have to be some kind of a help to help this R&D company, and the Singapore government will have to find a way to temporarily cushion some of this impact, so that you give these companies a chance to pivot. Then, of course, Deputy Prime Minister Gan Kim Yong and his team will have to go and tolong this Donald Trump and his team not to hit us, given that we are one of your strategic partners. By the way, I don't think that will work, because despite us being a strategic partner, in the eyes of Donald Trump, there's only money and there's no partners, there's no friendship. And hopefully productivity can be increased to cushion the impact as well. Now, in the mid to 1 to 3 years, we must find a way to diversify our exports outside US. And that will include Europe, Southeast Asia, India, China, whatsoever, and establish some chip alliance with neutral economies, and position ourselves not so much as a production hub, but as a design and R&D hub. And hopefully, in long term to come, 3 years and above, Donald Trump will have stepped down, hopefully, and things will return back normal. In case it doesn't, then we have to invest in higher value stuff like AI, chip design, IP, and so on. Find a way to overcome all this. But I'm pretty sure that after 3 years, after Trump steps down, there's a good chance this will be over. So what does the Singapore government have to do now? Well, clearly DPM Gan Kim Yong and the Ministry of Trade and Industry must engage in high-level diplomacy with the US counterpart right now. While I'm very skeptical there will be any positive result, but don't try. You have to try. As long as 1% hope, you have to try, right? And you position Singapore as a strategic and reliable partner in a global technology ecosystem, and emphasize Singapore's geopolitical neutrality, intellectual property protection, and so on, right? So all these on paper talk very easy, but I don't know whether this will work for Trump. Well, what should we do as investors, right? And as Singaporeans, number one is brace for some impact. If you have a lot of exposure to chip-related REITs and so on, maybe you want to just brace for impact and think of what you want to do and monitor the development very closely. I will update everybody closely of this bad news or potentially turning good news again if our Singapore government could do something, okay, and so on, right? So I think that that's why I always encourage everybody to have a globally diversified footprint in your stocks investments. And we'll monitor this very closely by the way, this problem right now is only a tip of the iceberg, because between US and China, there is still a negotiation going on. India kena chalat, India had a bad time with US right now for buying oil from Russia. and they are getting hit by 50% tariffs. I'll update everybody on that as well, and so on. Now, clearly, right, this is not the first storm we have been hit in our Singapore history, but it is something that we need to deal with and potentially pivot ourselves, right? So let's just watch on, keep a close look in this space. So thank you for watching, and please do hit subscribe as I bring you more exciting updates. And I'll see you tonight in live stream. Bye bye.